Hello, hello. How is everybody doing? Sorry about the short intro thing there. Clicking some buttons I didn't mean to hit. So, I hope y'all can hear me fine. If not, go ahead and let me know. So, I want to share something with y'all before we get into DeFi Kingdoms and all the awesomeness. So, time to start. So, you know, most of y'all know I'm a truck driver. So, as a truck driver, we kind of know what's going on around the world, or not around the world, but around the country. And something's really got me concerned. So, generally, this time of year, when hurricane season starts up, most of us truck drivers, we kind of stage ourselves in preparation for disaster relief. Well, I'm going to tell you, there is zero disaster relief loads out there right now. So that's kind of really got me concerned because what are these people doing for any of this? I don't know what to say. It's got me concerned. We're almost a week into this and nothing. So don't want to get political with all that or any of that good stuff. But I'm just saying there's no way after looking at the news and all that much damage went through and there's no resources being sent to these people. Usually I'm running nonstop water loads over to them. And we got no water loads. We got, and I talked to a lot of my flatbed friends. Usually they're hauling all kinds of equipment into them and they got no equipment being sent in. So, I mean, it's got me really concerned for these people. But anyways, let's get into our DFK topics. So first off, can I get a shout out from someone? Let me know that you guys can hear me just fine. Or are you guys just waiting for me to say something? And so I got nothing. Nobody's saying anything. Can you guys not hear me? Hope that didn't echo through to y'all. Sounds like the sound's fine. So I got kind of a lot of things I want to discuss today. I'm not sure about starting this late, what kind of people we're going to get in here, but I want to talk about something that they kind of talked a little bit about in the AMA, and it was all news to me. I didn't hear nothing about it, but I guess some people might be saying some stuff about, Dreamer traveling the country and the world and all that good stuff. And I guess they don't like that. I don't I don't know how to really think about that. What were they really complaining about? If they're complaining that he shouldn't be out there networking like that, then I'm sorry, I have to fully disagree with that. You know, he's out there networking and doing his thing and building these relationships with all these people. I know a lot of people disagree with me, but Kingdom Studios is a business in my opinion. And in business, that's one of the main things you focus on to build your business is networking. And I also like to look at it as what he's doing in his networking. He's not just networking with people around the same level and all that stuff. I mean, we all love DeFi Kingdoms. We all think DeFi Kingdoms is the greatest game out there and all that stuff. But these people that he's networking it with, I call it networking up because he's networking with people above basically what our status is. So to me, I think he's doing a great job in building these relationships with these people in these companies that he's been dealing with. We might not see an immediate return on any of it, but I can almost guarantee you in the future, that's going to be big. The network that he's building is going to be big. So I got something going on with my internet here. I hope I'm not cutting in and out on y'all too bad. Internet says it should be good. So I think it's a great thing. And, I know he mentioned about, because, a lot of people are worried about the budget and all that stuff within DeFi Kingdoms. And he mentioned that, all this is getting paid for by other people and stuff like that. For me, that doesn't matter. Even if DeFi Kingdoms was paying for all this, as long as it's in their budget, I don't care. In my opinion, it's worth it. Networking needs to happen. So there we go. It says the internet got better now. So I hope everything's good out there and you guys can all hear me fine. Not getting any feedback or anything from y'all. King says it looks good, loud and clear. There you go. Thanks, King. I appreciate it. All right. So I don't want to dwell too much on that. I just want to say anyone that says what he's doing is not beneficial, it's extremely beneficial. It will pay off in the long run. It's not like DeFi Kingdoms is just here and ready to go. DeFi Kingdoms has always been a long, long game. It's never been, let's just throw something out there and make some money. So, all right, what's next on my agenda? The latest DFK update. So, PvP. Now, as you can see out there, everyone's really excited and really happy for PvP. So I don't really have a whole lot to cover on that hasn't been covered by a million other people. And the whole thing PvP, that's pretty self-explanatory what it is. I can't wait till tournaments come out. That's going to be when it's going to be really exciting. So I don't want to discuss too much about that outside of just one thing. Why does DFK always have to do everything with the whole DFK style? They can't just release PvP to where people just play against each other and it's a combat. They got to go and add all kinds of other goodies on top of it. Like with the whole pledging system. You can pledge your heroes. Basically, you're staking them. They added that in there. They added, up only betting. Now, how cool is that? I love the up only betting. That whole thing's awesome. You can, vote for people and all that stuff. You can take all those heroes that you have nothing better to do, stake them. Well, I know they're not going to pledge them. That's what they're calling it. You can pledge your heroes. That's cool. You can get rewards. I don't think the real rewards are going to come off of pledging them until tournaments come out. I just, in my opinion, and you guys can disagree with me, I don't think there's enough transactions and all that going on over there yet. And, buying and selling of heroes and all that to where we're really going to get a lot of benefits out of it. Surprisingly, I staked a really crappy hero and I got like 0.002 jewel off of it already. I was kind of shocked, I mean, I think it's a level 1 thief with no summons left, nothing exciting, common. Just the fact that I got anything out of that's cool. And then on top of that, they're also gaining experience. I really like that. That's cool also. So now these heroes, and I'd kind of like to hear what other people are thinking about when they're thinking about what heroes to send over to pledge. Outside of obviously you're going to send over the heroes that you're going to battle with, and then I mean, if you built a hero solely for PvP and you're not pledging it, that just seems kind of like a waste to me. But what other heroes are you guys thinking about? I haven't made a decision yet, but is what I'm thinking about staking over there or pledging are, let's say I got a bunch of Legionnaire fishers. They're not really that great for fishing. They don't have a codex, so they're not really usable for that. If they got 0 summons left, what am I doing with them? I'm just spending money to quest them to level them up. Well, now I can go over there, pledge them, Now, from my understanding, they're not going to level as quick, but they are going to still level. And if I can put them over there, pledge them, get all that voting power, and, you know, also get a little bit of rewards, why not just send all those heroes that are really good for nothing over there to do that with until we can start burning them for essence? You know, I got another video coming out that I'm going to talk about the whole expeditions thing, but I think that would be a better choice compared to putting them on expeditions. And especially since I have so many heroes, it's not like I really need to worry about the gathering the materials that much. So for me, that's what I'm planning on doing with them. What's your guys' thoughts on what are you guys thinking about sending over there to pledge? Is there any specific type heroes that you guys are thinking about outside of what you're going to use for PvP? That's what I'd be interested to hear some other people's thoughts on that and what you guys are doing and planning on with that part of it. So what else do I got on the agenda? I think that's kind of the up only betting. So I got a question for you guys, and this might be a legal thing, and they might have done all the math and all that, and they know exactly what's going on. But as far as the sponsoring a PvP battle, right? You can sponsor it, and you get 10% goes to the players and 90% goes to the people voting. Now, in my opinion, I think we would get more people sponsoring if more went to the players. And now I don't think they could do this fully the way I would like to see it done just because of the whole betting situation. But, if I wanted to go, let's say me and King wanted to do a battle and we both wanted to bet 1 jewel on it, we could sponsor it and do it that way. And that way, not just me and him win, but the audience wins also. But if they change it from that 90-10 and change it to a 50-50, that way at least we break even. I don't know where the math lies in there, but I think that would be a really cool option if that was possible. And I don't know what the legalities are on that because that would be betting. And I do know in some of the other games I played that once you put it to where you had to where it was any kind of signs of betting, that it wasn't allowed to be played in certain states. Like a few of the games I play, I can't play in Arizona. I have to use my VPN to change things around. So I would be interested to get some more people's thoughts and see if that can be switched around a little bit. I'm assuming it can't, and that's why they did it the way they did it, was for the whole legal purpose. So just a thought when I saw them do that, I'm like, if they switch that the other way around, then you could turn it into where you're sponsoring it, and each person puts in the same amount, and then whoever wins actually ends up ahead. But since it's sponsored, it's not considered betting, I would say. But is that whole thing to where you're trying to look for a loophole and then we're just going to get busted for it anyways? It's just interesting to think about it and where we could go with that, because that could be cool. So what else was on here? Oh yeah, so this is the big topic that I really wanted to talk about today, more than the rest of it. I just wanted to share my thoughts on a lot of that. So I guess, and I don't want to say anything negative. I am fully bullish on the PvP release and really excited what it brings to the table. We've all been waiting for a long time for PvP to come out. Now, I'll go back to where I say I don't think PvP is going to be the driver for the big influx of players. And based on some rumors and some stuff I've been hearing out there, onboarding players for PvP, even the players that we're getting that want to play are struggling to figure everything out. And that's why I keep pushing. We need a either starter area or a full game loop, something like that. But let's kind of put that aside because that's not something we're going to get anytime soon. They got to get this PvP out. They have obligations to do what they're supposed to be doing. But we have to address the fact that there's a real struggle with what do people do first, and I've thought a lot about this, how do you direct people to the right place to play and how to get involved in all that? You know, I don't have any good answers. I would like to share something with you guys, and maybe this will help you think of it a little bit along the same lines as I think about it. So, I know a lot of players out there that have played Dungeons and Dragons, have played, a lot of these games. Now, I'm a little higher up there in age, so my experience might be a little different, but I want to kind of share my introduction into Dungeons and Dragons first. So when I started playing Dungeons and Dragons, me and a group of friends, we heard about it from other people and we wanted to get into playing it. So in order to play Dungeons and Dragons in my era, it was you had to either buy all the books or as we did, we went to the library and checked them out. We started out with the player's handbook. We went and checked out the player's handbook and we'd do kind of like no, I don't know any better way to explain it outside of it was kind of like a Bible study. We'd all get together and we'd each take turns reading and we'd discuss what we read and all that stuff. And then, after all that, then we had finally figured out the basics of the game. And then we figured out we needed a dragon or a dungeon master, right? So now we had to go get the dungeon master book. And then we got all that read. And then we had to go buy some dice to roll our characters. And then we had to get character sheets printed out and all that stuff. I would say from the time we started to the time we actually started playing the game was 3 to 4 months of research, and it was all reading documents, or reading books, reading this, reading that. You know, that type of learning is not something any of these new generations do. So I hear a lot of people saying, start up a wiki page. I agree with that. I'm all on board with that. You know, I started playing World of Warcraft. I played vanilla. I started right at the beginning. And that's what we did. We went to WoW Wiki. You basically was not playing World of Warcraft unless you were looking stuff up on WoW Wiki. We'd go in there and we would go find, all the information for each and every quest we went on. That's where we went to get all the dungeon guides and everything. That's how we learned it all. There was very, very little content on YouTube or anything like that. YouTube was still really small at that point. So my generation of learning how to play a game is a lot different from now. And I have a feeling a lot of people in here have the same experience when they started gaming. Hey, Kevin Porter, good to see you in here. So, you know, for me, and I have a feeling a lot of other people in here, that's the same experience they've had. They have no problem going through and reading everything and learning that way. I don't know what we can do the way everything's set up in DeFi Kingdoms in order to make it easier for people to play. We can go in here. Let's just make this the whole thing. And then let's go, let's go to where basically most people are going to start out in DeFi Kingdoms. Let's go back over to Crystal Vale. How did my wallet get disconnected? That was weird. So basically when you open up the page, this is what you're looking at. Now, let's say you're coming in to play DeFi or you're coming in to play PvP. That's the whole reason you're here. But someone whispered in your ear that you should start playing boar hunts. Well, this is what you see. How do you know where the place to go play boar hunts is? You know, that's when you have to start clicking on stuff. That's difficult. And in my opinion, I wouldn't think to go to the tavern to go do hunts. That's just not something I would think about. And where do you make these guides? You know, we have a bunch of guides out there on YouTube. May not be the best guides, but there's quite a few out there. And, they're just not being utilized because we're not directing them to them. So now could we just send them to a guild and then the guild can direct them to them? We got, the artist inside of the castle, you can go check out, or it's in the castle, right? I don't know. It's in there somewhere. You know, that's why I'm so focused on that. We need a beginner's area, a starting area for people to come in and do something. But let's forget about all that. Now, I'm going to share kind of another experience here, and I'm sharing these so I can hopefully you guys can either get some ideas on where to change things or give me some ideas of what I can do to help people. So I recently added some scholars inside of Zan's Meta Army, and I started thinking about it as I'm building all these scholar accounts. I say all like there was a lot. There was a total of 4 I built plus King. And I went in and I added, jewel to all the accounts. I added crystal to all the accounts. I added the gold to all the accounts. I added all the heroes to the accounts. And with the new update, I had to go buy them all new equipment for all the heroes. I had to, I added everything to them, whereas all they had to do was go do hunts. And then, of course, me and King had to team up and we showed them how to start hunts. Now, how many steps did I do to get them to that point? And how frustrating would it be to get to that point as someone brand new to gaming or brand new to Web3 gaming that comes from the Web2 space and they come in here? Those are a lot of obstacles that they have to overcome to start playing. And I know I've said this quite a few times in the past, but I don't think our focus needs to be on people playing Web3 games. Our focus needs to be on onboarding Web2 gamers. DeFi Kingdoms is way advanced compared to most Web3 gaming. Most of your Web3 games out there are not I haven't seen any quite at the level that DeFi Kingdoms is as far as complexity goes. And I think the complexity of the game is right up there with most Web2 games. Now, they still have a lot further to go. But even as it sits right now, in my opinion, it's really close to Web2 quality. And I don't think we're that far away from it. So that's where we struggle, is how do we get people to the point to where they're going to be willing to overcome all those obstacles that I took care of for my scholars in order to start playing. And I will say right now, I did ask my scholars today, the ones that I got left, what they think of doing boar hunts. Now, as all they're doing is boar hunts, they're not into PvP yet. Do they like it? Do they think it's easy? Do they think it's hard? What are their opinions? And it was pretty unanimous that they all think once they got the hang of the gameplay, that it's not that hard and they actually enjoy it more than the other games that we're playing. So I think once we get people in here and playing, we can keep them. But how do we get them in here playing? First off, first thing in my opinion is we need to squash the whole you're going to make money. You can make money, but we need to get away from telling people that it's a play to earn or any of that type stuff. It's a fun game that you can come in, play, and have fun. We need to focus on gamers. In my opinion, investors are not the target audience we should be going for, because I don't think we can keep investors at all unless we're all long terms like a lot of us are. And we know it. Now, we can tell them there's the opportunity to make money, but we need to make sure that's not what their focus is, to make money. Does that make sense? Boy, chat, you guys are awful quiet tonight. Says we got 24 people in here, but I don't know how accurate that thing ever is. So, kind of looking for your guys' opinions here. What do you guys think we need to focus on in order to get people to come in, and not just get them to come in, but to retain them? I've heard a few stories now of people coming in and they got so frustrated they left since PvP started. And getting misled in different directions. I don't want to keep repeating myself, but we need to get away from that. Tournament rewards. Yeah, tournament rewards, but we're a ways away from tournament rewards. Saw some leave this weekend, sadly. Yeah, and that's my concern is we don't have enough players to have a high retention rate. And I'll look at just my scholars, okay? So I'm going to take King out of this. So the 4 scholars that I brought on, out of the 4, I have 2 that are very active, one that I think we might be losing soon, and one that just quit playing. So that's a 50% retention rate. And I think it's all because of the whole kind of difficulty of the game, because there's no starting area. So what do you say here, T-Heat? One was told to LP the gardens, but did not like the returns. Not an investor situation. Definitely need gamers. Yeah, gamers need to be our focus, hardcore. And I'm not going to say nothing against the gardens, because there is rewards there, and those rewards will get a lot better once we get a lot more people playing. And plus, if you're going to do LPs, you got to have gardeners. You can't just rely on your daily rewards. While good onboarding and tutorials are needed, making consistent video content is crucial. Keep up the good work. Yeah, I'm not very consistent, but we'll leave me out of that consistent thing. I'm trying to get consistent, but boy, life has been hitting me hard. And plus, trying to get the guild all set up, trying to get Zan's meta army back up and running has been a lot of work. And I'm sure King will contest to this. But yeah, and I just want to say we need to focus on gamers that are not looking for a quick, easy game to play. And I don't think the game's that difficult to play. There's just a serious learning curve there. And as far as Kevin Porter, what you're saying is consistent video content is crucial, and I agree, and onboarding and tutorials are needed. Yeah, I definitely agree with the onboarding and tutorials are needed. Winston Jazz Hand's been doing some pretty good ones, but it doesn't really cover from the start to the end. We really need someone out there to build, like, from creating a wallet to what areas to go to. I started a little tutorial series there, and I started, mapping out the different areas and stuff like that. The problem is a lot of it's been changing so much that even the tutorials I did aren't up to date anymore. They're fairly accurate, but not totally. Even just from the community as a whale or DFK team, it's not your responsibility. I agree. That one's kind of there's a lot of nuances in that one, Kevin Porter. I agree it's up to the devs and the team to really make the onboarding process a lot smoother and better. Unfortunately, I think I agree with them more focused on developing than working on tutorials. I and I'm going to put this out there, and I know a lot of y'all might not like me saying this, but I think it needs to be said. We're talking about, people are talking about starting to marketing. You know, Marketing, and I look at marketing and advertising as two different things. I don't think we're ready for advertising at all. I know they just brought on that new big guild and, they're trying to get some big streamers out there and stuff like that. I'm not fully against a lot of that, but I just don't think DeFi Kingdoms is ready for mass marketing. I don't think we should invest anything in mass marketing until there is a starting area or what I call a full game loop, where you can go from level 1 to level 20 doing nothing but PvE, and it's all well mapped out there to where everybody knows where they're going. Now, I know that's hard for a lot of us to swallow because we've already been waiting 3 years and we want mass adoption like yesterday. But I just really fear that we're going to start onboarding and start getting mass adoption and only have a 50% attrition rate. That would not be good for the overall longevity of the game, in my opinion. And, if you want my opinion, I think this is the only game everybody should be playing. But I also got to look at reality. Not everybody has the same opinions I have. And I think when tournaments come out, I think we stand a lot better chance with that. But I still think it's going to mainly be Web3 gamers. We're not going to really move into the Web2 market and start stealing players from there. What's your thoughts on that? Do you agree with that, or is there something else you want to add to that maybe I'm not seeing? But we're I don't think onboarding right now needs to be a focus. I think the game development needs to be the focus. And trust me, I want everything to go tomorrow, get us 1 million players tomorrow, but that's not going to happen. And I think we're definitely on the right track to get there. I just think it's going to be a lot longer than people are thinking. And I'm curious, I want your guys' opinion. Let me know what you guys think. How long do you think it's going to take before these private battles kind of dwindle away? And the only private battles we're really getting are going to be the tournaments, like the Jewelers Guild's got going on, I know Stick's intern said he was getting ready to make another one. He was talking about one. I think outside of those tournaments, I think the private battles outside of people practicing aren't really going to ever catch on that much. And I'm not making fun of the whole thing. I think it's great and I think it's awesome that it's out there. You got to start somewhere. You can't just put it all out there. One of the downfalls of building a game, letting people play the game as you're building it. But I'm just kind of worried about that. And I know like Emerson was really excited about it. He was all getting into it earlier today. He streamed for what, 3 hours doing private battles? That was kind of cool. But I think we're a ways away from all that really taking off. But what else did I have in here on my timeline? I don't want to sound like I'm all negative about everything because I'm not. I'm very positive and I'm so excited about this release. It's not even funny. Well, that's all I had. It went kind of quick, but I didn't really have any much chatter in the comments here. I think low level PvE is closer than we'd think. PvP is out now, still working to do on tournaments, but equipment is available for low level. Feels like it could be a surprise drop sooner rather than later. Well, I hope you're right, T Heat, because that would make my day. I mean, that would really make my day if it was. My concern is, and I'm thinking about this, and the team hasn't said nothing, and I could be way off, but I'm guessing PvP 1.1 or 1.5, whatever they said it was going to be, is probably going to be, I'm guessing in December-ish. And then from there, I'm guessing each one after that is going to be a quarter out. So I think it's for the original 3, I think they gave them a quarter timeline on all 3 of them. So that means either December or January, I'm hoping tournaments come out. And I'm basing this just off of putting numbers together off of what I've heard. So I'm thinking, January's for tournaments. And if that's the case, that's a lot of work they got to get done. And to be working on that in scrub battles, I just don't see how they can do that. They already have the training blubs, which could be used for level 1 fights. Yeah, I don't think it would be. I mean, I don't know where they're at. Outside of art, I don't think doing scrub battles and building up that content, do it very basic content, would be that difficult for them to do, considering all the battle mechanics are there and everything. I just think that their deadlines on the, tournaments, the next big one is the tournaments. I think that's really tight. So I think that's going to kind of push a lot of stuff out. But at the same time, I didn't think expeditions were coming out until after tournaments were done. And I was way off on that one. So who knows? I would love to see it, but I'm just worried about, the deadlines, and they have to meet those deadlines or they're not getting their money. That kind of sounded bad, but you get what I'm saying. And based on what I'm feeling, I think it's a quarter per major, what do you call that, goal. And I just don't think that gives them enough time. But as always, this release went very smooth, so that at least they're not having to go through and fix a whole bunch of bugs. Agreed, the timeline might be tight, but they dropped equipment shop and influence system as a surprise, as surprises. Yeah, and supposedly they got a lot more surprises coming on too. Oh yeah, and traits. I did not expect traits to come out either. That was way ahead of what I was thinking. So, hopefully you're right, T and I'm wrong about scrub battles, but I don't foresee them coming out until after tournaments, but I hope I'm wrong and I hope you're right, because in my opinion that would be a game changer. And also durability would be a huge game changer, and I think that's part of the, they're saying they want that out before tournaments, and that would be awesome. I really hope the private battle parties continue to thrive and streamed. That's great. Oh, grassroots. Boy, where are my glasses at? I told myself not to even try to do this without my glasses. Yeah, the private battles are big. One of the things I'm planning on doing with my scholars, I need to build up some more scholars and need to get those accounts built and stuff. I got, I think, like 4 more applications in there to get them. But I want to do some private battles with scholars, and I want to just give them, basic level 10 commons heroes with basic equipment and let them go at it and start practicing, because I want them to be ready when tournaments come out. I think combat pets, divine essence, durability, which ties into crafting, will all come out before scrub battles. Yeah, Zach, I agree. I mean, totally agree with that. And I think the combat pets are almost done, and they have to do divine essence before they do durability. And they said they're really pushing to get durability done before tournaments. So I think a lot of that, I think there's a good chance for that coming out before uh, tournaments. Also, where does, yeah, divine essence play into the timeline? Lots of things still to develop, but team has been developing a lot recently. Yeah, I think the team, here's my guess, and I could be wrong on this. I think a lot of the stuff that they're releasing, they've been working on for the past 3 years, but they had a bunch of key parts of the programming to get finished up before they could get to that. And that's why all of a sudden they're able to get a lot of it done. And since they mentioned scrub battles before they started, I think they were talking about scrub battles before they even teamed up with Metis. So maybe that's already almost all done and they can just drop that right away. That'd be cool. Crafting and durability are going to be incredible for the ecosystem. Oh yeah, that's going to change things big time. Because right now, what I'm worried about is, I'm going to start building up all these scholars and we're going to start getting these equipment drops. But without durability, you know, we're going to end up just flooding the market with equipment, and I'm not going to be able to sell nothing, meaning I'm not going to be able to pay the scholars anything, which means I'm going to lose all my scholars. Well, that sounds bad, don't it? I'll figure something out as far as that goes. I already plan to be paying the scholars out of pocket for quite a while. So, I mean, it's not that big a deal. But, you also got to look at other players in the game. We got players that are, doing 50 battles a day, so they're in the same situation. But I think overall DFK is in a great place right now. And the biggest thing I'm the biggest on with this newest release is this is the point where we can say DFK has made it. They've done it. They have released PvP. All the naysayers and people that said it wasn't going to happen and DFK was going to just go away, we now have something to give them to say, no, you're wrong. DFK's here and it's here to stay. And that's what I'm excited for. And that's what I'm happy about. And I can't be more excited about the future of DFK. I mean, just look at this massive release. They released not only did they release all this, and it's a lot that they released, but they released it all on a new chain. And was virtually bug free. You know, there was no major hiccups, no major problems. Yeah, they had that little bridge problem, but that was fixed the next day. And honestly, how did they even find that problem? Who bridged heroes over there and then wanted to bridge them back? But apparently someone did, and that's how they found the problem. But, you know, all that stuff that they released all at one time, all on a new chain. You know, how can anybody say DeFi Kingdoms is not going somewhere? That's just my theory. I don't want to sound all negative. I know I sound negative when I come in here, and that's not my goal. I just want to be realistic with what I think's going on. And, you know, I don't want new players being onboarded and then being let down with unreal expectations. And from my experience and from what I hear a lot, people are thinking that it's a Web3 game, so it's got to be a money making game. And you can make money on it. Don't misunderstand me. There's ways to make money. But if that's what you're here for, you got a long hill to climb in order to do that. So with that said, do you guys have any questions for me or any further you want to discuss this? If not, we can probably leave it here. I'm just going to go back through my timeline again, make sure I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. All right. I think I got it all. Yeah, I got everything I wanted to talk about. All right. Well, hey guys, I appreciate y'all listening to me. I love your input. And, you know, as always, please do not forget to keep moving forward. Boy, my camera's all freezing up. Well, thank you all for showing up, and I really appreciate it. You guys have a great day.